everybody. It's nice to see you again on this Thursday night. So today I want to kind of discuss three things. First of all, let me just extend my thanks to you guys if you all watched my last video. Your support is like much appreciated. I mean, I love you guys. I couldn't do it without you. Um, I analyzed my games like thoroughly, and like, oh my God, I realized that I made just so many mistakes. I realized the mistakes on my opponent's behalf. I could have done a lot better in many regards. But hindsight's 2020. I kind of spent a lot of time analyzing my last video, so I will say that a lot of the views that were on my video were for myself because I watched it over and over again to see if I can improve my game. He did make quite a few. Not my first opponent, but my second opponent made quite a few blunders. Especially, I mean, I had a really poor pawn structure. He could have really capitalized on it. That's just one thing. But I promised you guys in my last video that I was going to talk more about psychology. So yeah, today that's what I'm going to kind of focus on. I'm going to introduce my first topic. This will be my first video ever where I discuss psychology for a significant portion of the video. And today I kind of want to focus on cultural differences in mental health. So you guys might not understand, it's a pretty self-explanatory concept. Let me just share my screen with you before I start discussing it. Let's see, one second. Alrighty, so basically, in my cultural psychology class at the moment, we're going over the chapter called Culture and Mental Health. And it basically, oh my God, I can't speak. It basically pertains to how much, the extent to which people from different cultures differ in how they perceive their mental health symptoms, the different symptomology of different people from different cultures for the same mental health disorder. So for example, an American person and a Japanese person might experience anxiety to a different extent, where a Japanese person might have more somatic symptoms, which basically means that they feel their symptoms as a result of bodily change. And Americans, for example, might attribute anxiety, their anxious systems to mentality. And I wanted to go over a specific article with you guys to just kind of emphasize this point. I have to give a big shout out to my multicultural psychology teacher. Professor. Her name is Carol Wang. She's doing a really great job teaching this class, and she's very insightful. She is a professor, a grad student at UH, so kind of look her up. So there's this one, and she posted this article, and I found it to be really interesting. I just want to kind of discuss it with you guys. So it's How Culture Shapes Your Mind and Your Mental Illness by Linda Rodriguez McRobbie. Let's kind of get right into it. It starts off by saying, the patient, a man in his early 20s, was clearly distressed and anxious. There were insects, he said, crawling around under his skin. So that's interesting. It says, the graduate student doing the initial assessment was immediately concerned and went straight to her advisor, Dr. Brian Sharpless, a clinical psychologist and professor at Argosy University in Virginia. The patient sounded psychotic, possibly schizophrenic, she said, and she wanted to know what to do. Is he any chance Nigerian? Sharpless asked. Yes, she replied. How did you know? He's not psychotic. That's Ode. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this. I'm not from Nigerian descent, obviously. But I think it's Ode Ori or Ode Ori. I'm not sure. You could brutalize me in the comments, whatever. Sharpless responded, he's having a panic attack. So that's kind of an example of the difference in how different cultures experience the same mental health disorder. So, for example, in in this instance, this Nigerian patient, he just has a simple case of anxiety. You know, a lot of times people from Western cultures like to attribute a lot of their Euro-centric ideals onto other people of other cultures. So we would readily diagnose this person with schizophrenia, which is a pretty common serious mental illness in America. While it specifies here in like the Nigerian Yoruba culture, Oreori is just a manifestation of acute distress. And we have acute distress. I have acute distress a lot. I mean, it's just panic attacks. I have pretty severe panic attacks. But like, under no circumstances would anybody ever diagnose me with like a psychotic disorder or schizophrenia, for example. And so I just further continue. And that's an example of, it's like there's some implicit biases that are going on there between the doctor and the patient, right? Because like there's actually a statistic in my cultural psychology book that says like mental health professionals will more readily diagnose like an African American with schizophrenia more than like they would diagnose a white person with schizophrenia. They would just, if they both showed the same symptoms, they would more likely diagnose the African American or the person of African descent with schizophrenia and the white person with like a mood disorder. So that's pretty interesting in that regard. It says Ode Ori is in Nigerian Yoruba culture the manifestation of acute distress. It's a crawling sensation in the head and under the skin, noises in the ears, heart palpitations, both an expression of and accompaniment to anxiety. And anxiety calls for a very different treatment protocol than schizophrenia. And that's completely correct. I think what's it called? The schizophrenia medication is called like clozapine or something like that, or risperidone. And I think that's what it's called. I'm not entirely sure. And the medication for like severe depression is Zoloft or Prozac. So it is two completely like different treatments for the two type of disorders. And let me tell you, if this guy has just a simple case of anxiety, you don't want to give him clozapine. That will just tranquilize him. He'll have severe side effects. And if he's neurologically showing the symptoms of this anxiety disorder, you want to treat him with SSRI, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, because he's not emitting enough serotonin. He's emitting a lot of cortisol, and I assure you he's not emitting dopamine in the same levels. So that's just some more technical stuff. Yeah, so and anxiety calls for a very different treatment protocol than schizophrenia. And okay, so we already kind of read that. If the diagnostician wasn't being careful, they could have diagnosed him with a psychotic disorder, because in the West, having that sensation would be more associated with schizophrenia. And I know that to be true because I've watched videos of like meth heads, for example, like talk about bugs crawling under their skin. That's just like a hallucination, or it might even be a delusion. It's just the result of, or what we think is great dopamine production in like the prefrontal cortex of the brain. So yeah, but the point of all this is that different cultures experience the same disorders or the same neurological and physical disorders in different ways, and they have like different outcomes, and they interpret them in different ways, because obviously different cultures have different worldviews and perceptions. So yeah, and just an extension of that, I looked up this article. It's about Ode Ori, what was discussed in the previous. This is from a journal of the Acta Psychiatra Scandinavia. It's a psychiatric journal from I think it's Scandinavia. I don't know. And 30 patients. It says 30 patients diagnosed by Nigerian Yoruba traditional healers as suffering from a condition termed ode ori, as described. The chief complaints were of a crawling sensation in the head and body, noises in the ears, palpitations, and various other somatic complaints. And the key word is somatic, of course, because in a lot of different cultures, they experience their mental disorders in somatic ways. They think of them as like bodily manifestations of a disorder which is completely mental. It doesn't have any physical consequences. Like there's no way that their physicality could be tied to their mentality could be tied to reality in any way. So yeah. And the significance of the disorder and its features is discussed in the context of the socio-cultural background of the patients. I think that's a fairly important point too. And that's kind of the point that this chapter is emphasizing. So I just want to read to you a little excerpt of one passage from my multicultural psychology textbook. It's written by Jeffrey Scott Mio, Lori A. Barker, Melanie M. Dominic Rodriguez, and John Gonzalez. It's called Multicultural Psychology, 5th edition. Just kind of hold it up. If you guys want to, I think there's a PDF of it online. You could probably rent it there, or just buy it. I don't know. So I'll just read you a little excerpt of it. It says, Denise, a 20-year-old African-American lesbian college junior, was majoring in sociology at a large, predominantly white university in the southwestern United States. Denise came to the university counseling center to address feelings of depression and loneliness related to chronic difficulties with interpersonal relationships, particularly with her peers and family members surrounding her sexual orientation. And so basically, there's this girl named Denise. She's 20. She's a lesbian, and she's attending a university somewhere in the Southwest. And anybody that was raised in the Southwest knows that it's a conservative culture. They're not accepting of like progressive ideals like homosexuality. So I could see how that could result in distress, definitely. So I'm just going to continue. And she has 2 points of intersectionality. One, that she's African American, and the second is that she is a lesbian. And those are two minorities. So things could potentially be hard for her. So let me see. Denise was assigned to an African American female counselor and appeared somewhat anxious during the intake session. She verbalized her ambivalence about discussing her problems in counseling because she had received numerous messages from her parents and other family members about the taboo of going to a mental health counselor to address personal things. Denise said she had trust issues and that she would feel more comfortable knowing something about the counselor. And I think that's a pretty common thing if you're, especially like if you're a clinical psychologist or a therapist in any regard, because restoring trust is a very long and complicated process, and it's not easy to do. And it usually results from trauma when a patient was in their most vulnerable stage of life. And I think according to what was it? I think it was according to Eric Erickson, or like the age around like 4 to 6 or 2 to 3 or something like that. There's the trust versus distrust phase, or I think it was just 2 to 3. I think it was, I don't exactly remember the stages of development, but if you're like traumatized during that stage, it could be potentially difficult for you to recover from that. And if people are traumatized during that age, then geez, like good luck, man. So it says, Denise discussed some of the adjustment difficulties she was having at the university, feeling as if she was too different from any of these people here, and as though she did not fit in. More specifically, Denise believed her interpersonal difficulties were related to her inability to deal effectively with the heterosexist attitudes of many students. And I could see, even though that more colleges are becoming increasingly progressive, I could see how the heterosexist attitude could possibly be prevalent I'm not going to name any specific universities. I live in Texas, for example. You can kind of draw those conclusions about how there might be discrimination against the homosexual community, but that's besides the point. So I'm gonna skip a little bit. I just want to kind of get to the point because I'm kind of cut for time. So it says Denise traced some of her trust issues to relationships with the girls in junior high who portrayed her secret of being a lesbian. She discussed at great length her feeling of disappointment and anger related to not feeling unconditionally loved by her family, and was beginning to accept the fact that her family members may never be okay with my being gay. Denise and her counselor also spent time exploring the relationship with regard to cultural differences, issues of trust, and issues of power. She also spoke about her initial fear of being rejected by her counselor, an African American woman. Denise spoke of feeling empowered by her experience, of feeling supported, validated, and challenged in counseling, and she expressed an interest in joining a lesbian support group on campus so she could obtain support and continue struggling with her issues. So yeah, I could definitely see that how even though she had a counselor that was African American, there could still be a level of distrust. And I assure you that if you're traumatized, it really doesn't matter who it is. It's like the content of the character that you're focused on. If this African American counselor was really agreeable and sweet and empathetic, it might have been more easy for her to build trust with her, obviously. So I'm glad at the end Denise felt more empowered. It says she joined a lesbian support group, or it's probably just an LGBTQ support group. They talked a lot about racial identity issues, and it's different. It really is different. I think especially for the Black community. I had a few Nigerian friends that I talked to, and they talked about their conservative, more traditional parents and how they would never accept them if they came out to them as gay or lesbian, or they might, but it'll be very difficult for them. And I've had some discussions with them in that regard. But each culture experiences, anxiety, mental health in a different way. And I'll give you another example. I read, I think even in this book, the Multicultural Psychology 5th edition, that Indians, or was it Indians? No, I think it was either this book or this article, that Indian people from India, from the Indian subcontinent, they experience auditory hallucinations to some degree, but they don't view it as an invasion of their sanctity like the people in the Western culture do, because we're in the Western culture, we're very individualistic. We like to keep to ourselves. We don't enjoy people intruding in our thoughts and our lives. That idea is very prevalent, especially in the First Amendment. We have freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. We enjoy these personal liberties and freedoms. And in India, it's more of a collectivistic culture, and I think people there are more social, and I especially can tell my family that we're a little bit more sociable. So they kind of view the auditory hallucinations like spirit as more spiritual. They think of them in a more polite manner than instead of the malicious, malevolent entity that people in an individualistic culture think of them as. So yeah, there is a significant cultural difference in the way that Eastern cultures, Western cultures perceive things, and I think that needs to be acknowledged, and it definitely needs to be more prevalent in our current healthcare institutions. People need to be informed of this, because we always try to attribute Euro-centric ideas onto different individuals, and we can't do that. Like in the case of Odeori, it's a perfect example. The schizophrenia, it's a very Euro-centric mental disorder, and it didn't acknowledge this traditional Yoruba uh, ailment at all. So yeah, so that's just kind of something for you guys to think about in terms of psychology. That's the maybe you guys think about the cultures where you came from. Maybe you're Latino, maybe you're African American, or you're Latino, you're Black, you're Indian, you're Native American, whatever. I want you to think about how like your culture affects your perception of mental health disorders, and just kind of something for you guys to ruminate on. And I know, like for me, uh, like I'm a mixed child, so I'm half Indian and half white, so I have kind of a mixed perception of mental health disorders. For one, like I kind of feel ashamed about having like panic attacks and anxiety that comes a little bit from the collectivistic Indian culture. And in other ways, I feel like justified for having them because I come from a more individualistic culture where that is, or my mom's side of the family is from a more individualistic culture where that's more readily accepted. So yeah, so that's the psychology portion of today, and I'm glad I got through it because I'm a little bit mentally exhausted, so I'm not sure how my chess levels are going to be. I think for future reference, I might discuss psychology first, or I might do my chess games first, then discuss psychology next. Yeah, so let's get to the chess bit. All right, I'm done with that. So I have been playing against the 1300 bot on chess.com, as I mentioned in my last video. And the 1300 bot has been doing something really interesting. He's been kind of opening up. I usually play as white, or always play as white, and the bot always plays as black. And he likes to utilize his queen in the opening game. And initially, I was kind of shocked because it's like I didn't know how to defend against that, because every person I played against just kind of did the same conservative openings, right? So this is Lichess or Lichess.org. Like they would do the same conservative openings. Like I would play e4, they would do something like e5, and they would bring their knights out to c3 and f3, f3, like so. And it was very simple, and the game would kind of progress like that. And it was nothing fancy. It's just a typical beginner chess. But now I'm playing against the 1300 bot, which is really complicated for me. It's about 2 times my skill level. I'm a 670 something now on chess.com. I haven't played against a real person since my last video, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do. God, I'm mentally exhausted now from talking about all that psychology stuff, so let's see. But so basically the bot, he did something along these lines, right? So I usually open with the king's pawn opening. I go pawn e4. So he does pawn e6, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing to it. And but it's actually very very kind of a very subtle opening, because you don't think anything of it initially. Because he does pawn e6, he opens up this diagonal for the queen. So he brings his queen down here to h4. And initially, when I did this, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be really clever. He's not going to, he's not. I'm not going to allow progression of this queen. So I play pawn g3. So I'm thinking like if he takes, I'll just take with the with this rook, right? So if he takes right here, I take with the rook. That's not the case. He goes over here. He checks me immediately, like almost immediately on the third move of the fourth move of the game, right? So it goes, yeah. So I'm like, oh, what the hell? How do I defend against this? So after a lot of trial and error, I finally figured out. And I know I'm a beginner, so man, I know you guys are just itching to tear me a new one in the comments. It's all right. I still love you, like your stepfather doesn't. Fuckers. All right. So yeah, so I figured out that I would go knight c3, and obviously if I go knight c3, he takes. I'm here. Well, no. So like, what am I doing? So if this was a situation, if he went over here, I could just defend with the knight, right? So it's not a big deal. So I think something he likes to do is move it back over here, move the queen to a safer position. And what I usually do in this case is, well, I don't play bishop g3. Like if he goes down here, now I figured out to play knight c3 instead. So like let's say he retreats to one of these positions. For example, I just, I'll kind of create a nice pawn structure. So like this white diagonal is cut off, and this white diagonal is protected by the knight right here. He's not going to take, obviously, because of this pawn. He's not going to move here. I have the bishop protecting that. So yeah, so I think he went back to here. He opened like this up, so or he opened that up. So I forgot what he did next. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the queen's opening. And there was one game where I was really successful against bot in protecting against it, and I almost won. I didn't win. I got a stalemate. I stalemated against this guy, and it was a shame because I was in the winning position. I was like 2 rooks up, and it was in game, but I didn't manage to win. So that was rough. So that's something called leechess.org. I'll put it in the description. You guys can check it out. It's a great online board editor, and I figured it out how to use it. It's pretty common. A lot of chess players use it, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, this is the bot I'm playing against. It's Nelson. He's from, oh Lord, I don't know this flag. South Africa. Of course, I knew that. It's so funny because in one of my Instagram posts, I put a South African quote from a South African priest, Desmond Tutu, I believe, and talked about this concept called Ubuntu. I am because you are. It's an anti-solipsistic South African philosophy. I'm a I'm a 676 for a reason. So it wasn't going really well for me in this game. He had the upper position slightly, right? So he was about to take here, this rook. I was going to defend it with this knight right here on e3. This whole end game was kind of centered around the e3 square. So his rooks were he was set to take. I would just take. I was defending. I'm really not sure in this case like what I was going to do. It was just chaos. The other thing I wanted to inform you guys about was I actually was watching a documentary about Magnus Carlsen, and if you don't know who Magnus Carlsen is, he's the chess world champion. He's a grandmaster. Obviously, you have to be a grandmaster to be the chess world champion. He's from Norway, and it's a really interesting documentary. It's just called Magnus, and it gave me really great insight into Magnus Carlsen's personality, to his childhood, to his kind of thinking about chess. And I gotta say, man, I have really great admiration for him. He's a very humble player. He's not arrogant at all. He doesn't go for cheap tricks when he's playing. And I kind of had that pity factor because he talked about he was bullied when he was a kid. So yeah, I just have the utmost admiration for Magnus Carlsen and everything he's been through. He's a very popular chess player. He's kind of like the Bobby Fischer of modern chess. And I don't really have that much respect for Bobby Fischer. I hate to say it because he's kind of arrogant. But he was a great chess player. He still is. I don't know if he's alive or not, but it doesn't matter at this point. I'm not a good chess player. I'm a beginner. But so I'm a hypocrite in that regard. So yeah, without further ado, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to kind of get started. The first game I'm going to play is actually against this 1300 bot right here, against Nelson. We'll see how I do. And what I didn't tell you guys is I'm actually going to try and use some of Nelson's tactics against my next opponent. So I'm going to play one game against the bot and one game against a real opponent. And I'll try to use some of Nelson's strategies that he used against me, and I could use it against another opponent. See? It's like the meme with the guy that does this. I don't know his name. Wow, I'm behind. I'm like an old man. So let's just do a rematch against Nelson. I think he's been my most formidable opposition so far. So should we do takebacks? No help of any kind? I'm just gonna do friendly because I like it when it says like best move and blunder. It's really helpful. It's good practice. I'm not gonna do any takebacks. I won't do any takebacks. So I'm just gonna play as white. Let's just do the typical thing. King or pawn e4, king's opening. Yep. So his next move is going to be something along the lines of this. I'm going to defend it with that. What I tell you. So let's see. So I'm going to kind of open things up for this white square bishop. So that's not really a blunder, is it? If I take it, because just this, right? Mistake. I feel like I'm making a mistake. I just don't see it. I shouldn't castle. I'm gonna castle. Strong side. Don't really have much about that. That's a good move. See, we're not tying, so it's a little different. I have more time to think about the moves. Actually, this would be a good move because, let's see, what would he try to do? This queen is in a really advantageous position for him at the moment. And I am down a knight, so I'm not in the best spot. Let's hope that he sacrifices, because I don't care. Okay, so I'm just going to move this here. For F4 was best. So, okay. No, because, shoot, because I can't do that. Because it takes, well, no, because, you know what, there's really no disadvantage. Is there? Let's see, if I move here, he could do is move backwards, right? He could go here. The only spot you can go really is right here. Or right here. So I'm going to move it and see what happens.
Got him! Got him!
I'm just going to stop. Should I? Because look, I'm defending this rook. But he didn't take. Jesus Christ, man. See, if I keep my queen, then I'm basically winning. So, just taking this, put that on the queen. He does that, he's winning. You know what? Fuck you. Your rook's not living today. NC7 was a blunder. Shut up. What? Hold up. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Oh, damn it. It's not a good sacrifice. I just lost a bishop. Ah, see. Should probably just resign. Oof, that's tough, man. See, I want to play just intuitively. I don't want to make a lot of calculations. Talks about how Magnus Carlsen's very intuitive, but I'm not a chess grandmaster, so I can't use my intuition like he does. Um, hmm. I feel like analyzing it again. It'll take too much time. I already spent enough time. I'll analyze it afterwards, and in the next video, I will. Yeah, I'll analyze it afterwards. In the next video, I'll recount my mistakes. But I'm gonna do one more. He's white this time. He's gonna use the queen again. Checkmate. Ah, damn it. All right, one more against Nelson. I swear. Then I'm gonna play a real person. So I made a mistake last time I was in this situation where I didn't move my queens in the proper order, and my opponent ran out of time. So I can't do that again. So let's see. If I move it here, we'll just take. So that's useless. Here moves. Move here. I'll move here. And so he can't go here or so here. So if I move here, there's possibilities are you can't go here. You can go here, here. You can go up. You can only go this way or that way into where I can be like, chow. All right. Water is a waterfall. Drink from the river, one again after the fall. Sunny the water, hear the words, lose ourselves till we find it all. Yeah, that's checkmate. All right, yeah, totally fair game against Nelson, man. Oh, Jesus Christ, Nelson, you are a bastard. You're gonna make me cry. All right, so now it's time for the real opponent. I'm not gonna bother analyzing that because we're short for time. So let's play online against a person of similar skill. Maybe they're better than Nelson is. Or maybe, I mean, not Nelson. So I can go intermediate, but I don't really want to go intermediate because I want to bully this person. Oh, damn, I'm not signing into my account. I'm just gonna, oh, I need a login. So let's, uh, okay. Let's be aggressive. Maybe. Maybe he knows. I don't know. I told you I was going to use Nelson's tactics. So if I can execute them properly, I'm not a bot. Oh, didn't even think of that. So yeah, let's see. What will he do? He can't go here because of this. I'm just gonna take. I didn't execute it as well as Nelson did. So let's go. I have confidence though. I I'm a pretty good in-game player, I think. Why didn't you just castle? What are you doing, man? Like, it doesn't matter. Let's see, go that way. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about it. This is good. He made it really complicated actually for me to do anything. I'm gonna kind of breach his defense. So I'm just hoping he takes. I don't think he saw that. Yeah. I actually have the upper hand. I have both his knights, and I still have a knight. So um, he has. Let's see, what did he do? So he moved to right here. Oh, see, the thing is why I can't move here because of this take. But I don't mind. That is a sacrifice that I'm perfectly willing to make. That'll give me the upper hand immensely. So what? I don't know. Just take it, man. Life is a wonderful one in the river, one you nothing fall. So through the boy we hear the words, we lose ourselves, but we find it all. I was listening to System of a Down, Aerials, great song. Oh, damn it! Yeah, so uh, he's threatening that bishop. I see. Good. That was a good one. This. Oh, he's gonna advance this pawn. Huh? Oh, okay. I know what he's gonna do. So I know what he wants to do. I might as well just. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to. Good move. Oh, maybe he falls for it. Oh, damn it. Situational awareness, all right. I'm the bishop up right now, so I'm not worried. Yeah. I'm still gonna go through with it. I don't care. Yeah, unless he moves his rook. So I'm gonna really. Make a push. Hmm? Oh, His best move is honestly, yep, that's what I figured. It should be an easy dub. Dude, just resign. How do I checkmate him? Wouldn't this be checkmate? No, he could go here. Yep. Ah, that's about right, baby. Alrighty. Well, that's my game for today. That's it for today, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything. You watched me get absolutely railed by freaking Nelson Mandela. Oh my god, it just clicked. Yeah, this guy was pretty good. I have to give props to my opponent. His Pum 7 from Mexico. He really had me in the first half, I ain't gonna lie. Little pun for you there. Uh, I thought he was for sure he was gonna win, but I'm really confident in my in game abilities. A lot of people they don't know how to. They get really confident and they kind of get complacent. Then I trap them in mid game, and after I trap them in mid game, they panic and they make bad moves. And when they make bad moves, I capitalize on it in game and take it from there, baby. So yeah, but congratulations for a really strong opening from Fum Seven. That when I move my queen uh, over here to H5, I didn't even consider moving the queen as up as defense, and he really took control of the middle, and I was forced to kind of retreat. So congrats to him. He just didn't persevere. So congratulations to Poom Seven. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys can reflect on everything that we discussed today, and maybe kind of do some commentary on my game. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. I don't know. Give me a kiss, whatever. Love you guys. See you.